Carolyn Dorin-Ballard led the Southern Virginia Open from start to finish, besting her nearest opponent by 439 pins after 42 games of competition. Some might call her the champ. But in a sport where the final format is sudden death, Dorin-Ballard will have to win one more match or lose it all. Inside Country Club lanes in Danville, Virginia for the finals of the Southern Virginia Open presented by Ebonite. Here's a look at the 5 finalists for today's show, and each one has a special story. Hi everyone, I'm Jan Schmidt, and thanks for joining us to kick off our summer swing. Do you ever wonder, as I do, what draws us into sports? What endears you to one athlete over another? Is it just talent, or could it be stories? Well, we have an abundance of both here today. Our number 5 seed has an interesting training regimen, and it's paying big dividends. Kim Adler cross-trains in extreme sports, and today is making her 6th TV appearance in 11 events and going for her 3rd title of the year. Our number 4 qualifier is starting her career like a dream come true. Tennelle Grualva is in her first full year on tour and won the coveted U.S. Open title just 2 weeks ago. She follows it up by making a show here. The 3rd seed is a remarkable comeback story. Linda Kelly's last show and title was 1992. She quit bowling for 5 years after that to raise a daughter and teach. She came back to bowling full-time this year at age 51, and against all this young talent, she makes a show. And number 2, it's about being the best. Wendy Macpherson, Bowler of the Year 3 of the last 4 years, Bowler of the Decade in the 90s. She's making her 7th telecast out of 11 this year, and 12th place is her lowest finish this year. No doubt about it, at this time, she is the best. 3 years ago, history was made here in Danville, Virginia, when Michelle Feldman became the first woman to roll a nationally televised 300 game. And coincidentally, it was against today's top seed, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Carolyn's trying to carve a notch of her own in history here in Danville, and she's standing by with my broadcast partner, Lisa Wagner.
Well, thanks, Jan. You know, so far, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard this year has equaled or surpassed many of her own personal bests, including those accomplishments earlier this year with back-to-back victories in our first swing. You know, but I just have a feeling for Carolyn, it's just not enough, and she's not through yet. Carolyn, would you say that's a pretty fair assessment?
I think that's a real good assessment. I have a lot of things on my hit list, as I call it, and definitely one of them was winning back-to-back titles. I mean, it's an amazing thing. You think about doing it, but until you really do, it does not become a reality. So that's probably one checked off, but there are quite a few still there.
Well, would you like to expound on them? I know one of them is going to have to start with a victory tonight. You led by more than 400 pins. What are your plans for your opponents?
Well, I think it would be a great thing. If I do win here tonight, it does accomplish a few things. One being, I'd be the first one to win 3 titles this year. The second thing, it would probably give me a little lead on the Bowler of the Year race, which everyone, including you, keep reminding me of. And it would be nice to at least be in the front for once instead of always trying to come up from behind. So that would be something that would definitely change my view going into the fall. I still want to just keep bowling well, and hopefully at the end of the year you'll be talking to me again.
Well, Carolyn, good luck. You're going to have to sit and wait in the wings just a little bit longer. We're ready for our first match. Kim Adler, Tennelle Grualva, and Linda Kelly.
They are standing by for the opening handshake at the Southern Virginia Open. And Tennelle Grualva, fresh off her U.S. Open victory, will be the first to throw a shot. What a victory for a lady in her first year as a professional.
And only 23 years old. Already has a major title.
Wow. Did you have one at 23?
Oh, no way. Got a title, but not even a major. Not close. What a great game Tennelle has. Watch closely to the game of this that Tennelle has. You'll love it.
And how about Linda Kelly? 51 years old, coming back. She was a great bowler when she was out here, but she, had a teenage daughter, took some time off, and wow. She said she heard you talk about her on the air one day and decided to try and make you proud and come back and bowl.
Well, that was a nice compliment that I got last night from Linda. I'm really glad to see her back. She's such a nice lady, and And it's good to see her back in top form.
First look at Kim Adler. Another great season. It is amazing what some of the ladies are doing this year. Coming up high. Did you get a chance to talk to them down as they were warming up, Lisa?
Yeah, I sure did. For this week, the players, especially on top, playing way far in on the lane was pretty much not an option. You had to stay, I had to keep the ball to the outside part of the lane. They said that out today is playing just a little bit tighter. You know, I did see a few channel balls in warm-ups.
Well, I guess there were a few throughout the week also.
Yeah.
A few channel balls throughout the week.
Had a few.
Covered up the spare, so we're all even through one frame. Tennelle Grualva now stepping up in the second frame. This lady was 199 pins out going into the last round last night and shot 300 over to make this show.
Just about a 240 average to catapult her into the 4th position.
Linda Kelly defeated Kim Adler in match play. Low-scoring game, though. Strike for Linda Kelly. Kim Adler now in the second frame. As I mentioned, 6th show in 11 cuts. They were reading my mind.
That's
Graphic
right.
came up right with me there.
Right on top of things out there. And there, that was a much better shot. She missed her target quite a bit to the left the first shot. I think she might be fishing around a little bit on the lane, but that's going to be the spot people are playing, and they're going to have to make it work.
And it was interesting talking to the players because they haven't played there much in quite some time, and for a lot of people it's a very uncomfortable feeling, even for the professionals.
Right, if you're not practiced out there, but you know what a nice change it was to be able to play out there, and I for one would like to see it again. You know, I think it's pretty exciting to play there sometimes.
It's nice to have some different conditions. Well, AMF Marietta Lanes in Marietta, Georgia hosts the next Pro-Am on the PWBA Summer Tour. Join all the PWBA stars for the Pro-Am prior to the Greater Atlanta Open, August 5th. Contact Tracy Brueggemann. That's at 770-427-4696 for all tournament and Pro-Am information. Tennelle Grualva in the lead by 10 pins. Started with a double, and she just looked so comfortable on television. It was the same thing for the U.S. Open. You would think a newcomer would have a little nerves.
Not affecting her one bit. I watched her in practice. She looked just as good in warm-ups as she does now. Ooh, she took a good break there. She did miss left. You see that ball, it just didn't quite get as far out to the right as the others did. And you want to get it out to the right so you can catch some of that dry and that friction out there, and it's going to turn that ball real hard into the pocket.
Well, now, we talked to Linda Kelly last night about nerves and asked her if she'd be nervous, and you know, her response was, well, of course, I always was. So she figured nothing changed.
I think she was a little bit of a basket case today. I think that's what she described it. She was a little bit nervous, but not showing it right there.
Big double for Linda Kelly to take a 1-pin lead in this match. Tennelle Grualva shoots at the 4-pin and covers it with no problem. .204 average on the TV pair for Kim Adler, one of the lower averages on the pair. But today's a different day. Television lights change the lane conditions a bit. Different amount of play, so you never know.
That's right, as well as some adrenaline flowing through everybody's bodies there. It's going to make you do things that you might not have seen during the week. And we didn't see that too much from Kim during the week. She left a 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. Watch the ball just not quite strong enough on the back. Goes right through the 1-6.
She's taking her time on this shot. Now,
There's 2 ways to make it.
right, that's what I was just going to say. She could go at this 2 ways.
You can stand pretty far left on the approach, throw very hard and straight, hit to the right of the head pin. That's going to knock the ball over into the 6-10. Or you can go left of the head pin and kick them over to the right.
And she was choosing the second one, while the comeback player, Linda Kelly, jumps out into an early lead at the Southern Virginia Open. We'll be right back with the rest of this match. While we were away, Linda Kelly increased her lead from +1 to +17 over Tennelle Grualva. With a couple more strikes, Kim Adler threw a 3-bagger to get within 26 pins of Linda Kelly. John Trent, the account manager for Pepsi, the sponsor of the Pro-Ams, presented the senior and adult Pro-Am winner just before the telecast with their awards. Tennelle Grualva now up in the 8th frame. She's working on a spare, trails by 17 pins behind Linda Kelly.
Well, she is certainly lined up on that lane. She has not missed yet on that one. Now the left lane is hooking a little bit more, it looks like, for everybody. So it's pretty critical that they figure that left lane out and hit it. They're going to have to stay pretty aggressive on that lane right now.
She looks like she might have moved left a little bit on that shot.
I think everybody has. I noticed that Kim did too. She did move left, and she's gonna get a little bit more angle to the right. She's gonna use more of the lane.
We talked about Kim's great year, 2 titles, 6 TV finals.
And 8 top 24 appearances, 10 cashes, and that 2,000 earnings more than $61,000.
That includes television bonuses, incentives for certain equipment, certain clothing and logos.
And those are sure great to have.
They help.
Yes, they do.
Really get that income up there. Need to make a few shows. Max score for Tennelle Grualva, 239. If she takes it off the sheet, she's in the 9th frame. Nice shot.
Yeah, she got a good break on that lane last time because she just about left a 7-10. And the 7 fell late, so it left just 10 pin, and she converted it. And now just stuffed the pocket, 9 pin. But at least she knows that she is lined up on the right lane and she's going to finish there. So it's going to be right now pretty much all up to Linda Kelly how she's going to handle this 9th frame.
Tennelle staying clean, as she does so very well for a first-year player. Linda Kelly, meanwhile, max score 256. She has a strike up in the 8th. It's her 9th frame. Nice shot for Linda Kelly.
Stayed down at the foul line. She trusted that shot, got through it great. She's setting the ball a little short on that lane. It could be, because it's a little bit tighter and she wants to get it rolling up a little bit.
Meanwhile, max score for Kim Adler, 219.
Well, just can't quite find it today.
Well, she's done a lot of work. She didn't feel comfortable this week. She said she felt about 60%. She did some work with Randy Stoughton of Ebonite, and she felt a little better, but she said it would be tough for her to perform on television.
And that's right. She said that she felt that she was getting too far forward. Her shoulders were going forward, and it was causing her feet to rush to the foul line and getting her out of time and losing her leverage point.
Well, welcome back to television, Linda Kelly, because everything is going her way. Tennelle Grualva, terrible break, 7-10.
She got the great break and kicking the 7 out on the left lane, and then comes up on the lane she hasn't missed on. Pops up for, it would have been nice to see it come out of the back.
Sure would. We don't see that too often. Well, Linda Kelly survives the opener to advance, but first when we come back, we'll list the winners of the WIBC National Championships. Final score of match 1, Linda Kelly 244 to Tennelle Grualva's 196 and Kim Adler's 208. Linda Kelly's next challenge will come from Wendy Macpherson. Stay with us. We're back ready for the semifinal match of the Southern Virginia Open presented by Ebonite. It'll be Linda Kelly and Wendy Macpherson. And Linda Kelly will start again. Linda Kelly defeated Adler and Grualva once again 244 to 208 and 196 in that opening match. She looks tough for her first show since 1992.
Yes, she sure does. And right now she's probably thinking, what have I got myself into? I won the first match. Now I got to bowl the bowler of the decade and the bowler of the year, 3 of the last 4 years. And then I got Carolyn, and what a tough road she's got ahead of her.
Well, she made a pretty good shot, leaving that 10 pin, and she's going to change balls to shoot the spare.
Right. She's going to cut down the hook. She doesn't want the ball hooking away, so it's a good lesson for everybody out there. Carry that spare ball with you.
And that's how you do it. She looked a little apprehensive about that shot.
Well, she didn't shoot too many spares the first game.
That's right. Mostly strikes with a 244. Wendy Macpherson, 32 years old, 14 years on tour, and 17 titles.
It's always a good sign when you have more titles than you have years on tour.
That's right. And you have about double or so, don't you, Lisa? 32, that would be. 32 titles, for those of you who don't know. Lisa Wagner, my partner. Wendy Macpherson going high, 4-6-7. Not the way she wanted to start the match.
Definitely not. Look at Wendy. Oh, she has such a great game. She gets that ball from the top of her backswing. She tucks it in and just comes through so nice.
Takes the wood, and Wendy talked to us about playing farther out on the lane.
Well, here's some other finishers. And 6, Tammy Turner, her high finish of the year. She just missed by 32 pins. Laura Lee Daniel in 8th. First top 24, and she was up there most of the week. Shanna Ray, you saw her in the doubles telecast.
Julie Gardner, a good showing in 11th place. Michelle Feldman shot that 300 here in 97.
Whoa, just avoided some more disaster there. Kicked the 7 out. Going to go for the spare ball once again. Going to shoot it just like Linda Kelly did. Go right straight at it. Great spare for Wendy Macpherson, and Linda Kelly coming back up. Looking to stay aggressive just like she was the first game.
Career 201
TV stats. 9 appearances.
Another great shot for Linda Kelly.
We're going to look at Linda Kelly, 5 steps. Look at that. She has a quick air. It's very critical for her to keep that the same every time so that her timing's good at the end. Look how low she is, too. So nice and low, and especially right now, that's very important because you got to project the ball down the lane here, and the lower you stay, the better it is.
She's getting comfortable now. Look at that smile.
Well, she has bowled most of the year, and she's cashed in all but 1 tournament. She's only missed 2 tournaments this year. So she's bowled well. She's performing here when she needs to.
WIBC Queen's title, that meant a lot to Wendy. A very prestigious title. She's wanted that for a long time.
Take a look at Wendy Macpherson. She has a as we've said before, we've seen her so many times this year, great 5 steps. We're going to look at her position at the foul line. That's what I want to talk about. Look at this position. Look at the shoulders right over the knees. And that is the position you want to be in. That ball comes through. Her balance is good that way. Direction is perfect. And that's why she is the player of the 90s. And going into 2000 also. Big sigh of relief there from Wendy. She's going, hey, I finally hit the pocket where I wanted to. Coming up with a double.
Yep, big double. And she trails by 21 pins. Linda Kelly up in the 4th frame working on a double. Oh, great shot by Linda Kelly.
Nothing you can do about that. Solid
Nope.
8. Absolutely nothing you can do. Let's take a look at this ball going into the pocket. Look at this. 5 pin just cuts right there, right in front of the 8. Turned sideways and said, you know, shoot at me.
She's going to convert the spare. And things seem to be going well for Linda Kelly, but it wasn't always that way. She told us about her trials and tribulations this week.
Right. It was a very stressful week coming into this. All kinds of problems, motorhome problems, insect in the ear problems, mild bronchitis problems. But I bowled great this weekend, so it's a happy ending.
Definitely a happy ending, and she's hoping it continues happy as she leads by 10 pins, stepping up in the 5th frame, working on a spare. And that insect in the ear, Lisa, you had a little detail about that.
Yeah, she was bowling a regional right before this tournament and woke her roommate up. She was staying in the motorhome with Tish Johnson for that tournament, and woke Tish up and said, I got to go to the emergency room. I have something in my ear. And Tish said, Linda, go back to sleep. You're dreaming. And then she said about a half hour later, she woke her up again and said, no, really, I need to go. They pulled an insect out of her ear. It was scratching at her eardrum. Kind of gave me the creeps.
Really, and she kept it. She saved it. She covers up that spare, and Linda Kelly has a slight lead. Find out if she can hold on to that lead when we return. Don't go away. And we're back in the middle of the semifinal match. While we were away, the lead changed, and Wendy Macpherson now in the lead by 12 pins, stepping up in the 7th frame. She threw 2 strikes, and Linda Kelly, spared and struck, didn't carry out the 10 pin.
No, it was a good shot, though. Took her time, made the spare, and made a great shot on the left lane.
Wendy now working on 4 in a row.
5 in a row.
Wow, light mixer there.
That came back from nowhere, huh?
And that's Wendy playing also an area of the lane she is not most comfortable playing. So,
well, that's right. And she said it was kind of real important for her this week to not be stubborn. She likes to play in, and she's most comfortable playing pretty far left in the middle of the lane. And she said, I'm not going to be stubborn. I'm going to play out there where I should be, and made it to 2nd.
Oh, short messenger.
I think she got that hung up on her hand a little bit. Might have got a little quick. Ball doesn't quite get there at with your feet. Yep, got hung up on her hand there. That's probably a product from, having to make sure that you get pretty aggressive.
Wow.
And, sometimes you might want to throw a little bit too hard, and I think that was probably in her back of her mind a little bit when she was shooting the 10 pin.
Yeah, almost a big mistake by Wendy Macpherson, but she hangs on to convert the 10. Linda Kelly now up in the 8th, max score 247.
That's a
She
big shot.
trails by 21 pins.
It's a very big shot right here for Linda.
Coming up high.
Well, let's look at, this is her last shot here. I think she might have hit up on that just a little bit, didn't get the projection down the lane. Left herself with a 3-6.
Just picks it up.
And some more finishers. 16th, Jody Ellis. She has 9 cash-ins at 11 tournaments. Rachel Perez, she's back from teaching in Reno during the WIBC Nationals. And Michelle Frank had a 299 this game. That was a high game in the tournament.
Well, Lisa Wagner, there you are in 21st. 23rd, Andrea Marshall of Frankfurt, Germany. It's her second cut in 7 events. She's talented. She'll do well out here. Michelle Arrington from Philadelphia, way to start a swing out, making a finals. Linda Barnes was our alternate this week.
Great break right there. The 9th lane to set up her 10th. Trip the 4-pin. This ball's going to get down the lane good, though. Look at this. She projected that down the lane nice. Well, you wouldn't know that she struck.
No, she didn't look. I guess she was maybe just relieved. Okay, 9th frame's over.
That's right. That was a big one.
Max score for Wendy Macpherson, 248. Meanwhile, Linda Kelly now down to a max score of 227. Big setup shot for Wendy.
She had some heat behind that one.
Wendy will need a spare and a strike. She leads by 21 pins. Spare and a strike would give her 228. Best Linda Kelly can do is 227. So she definitely needs a mark, but a spare would force Wendy to have to strike on the fill ball to shut out Linda.
I can guarantee you what Wendy's thinking right here is strike now, get it over with.
Oh, wow.
Well, in 2 seconds, that just went from winner to possible loser. Look at this. What a break. What is that? The 6-pin in the channel barely tapped it.
It didn't look like it hit it enough to knock it over.
Sure didn't.
Bad break with the 7-10. Great break to knock out the 10-pin there. Uh-oh. Wow.
Well, this is just left off her hand. Now, she is using her spare ball, and she knows that a spare ball is going to go straight. But when you get to that fresh part of the lane, you know, they're not using the left part of the lane. So there's a fair amount of dry over there and nothing to hold that ball back from hooking.
Well, Linda Kelly has to strike here. But can't get the job done. Great comeback, though, and Wendy Macpherson defeats Linda Kelly for a shot at the title. When we return, we'll recap tonight's action and take a look at this year's crowning moments. So far tonight in the opening match, it was all Linda Kelly as she sent Grualva and Adler home early, 244 to 196 and 208. In match 2, Wendy Macpherson survived despite a missed spare in the 10th to end Linda Kelly's charge, 216 to 195. So far this year, 3 ladies have captured 2 titles, one of them being Kim Adler, who grabbed the Las Cruces, New Mexico Open and the St. Clair Classic titles. Michelle Feldman won the Bowl the Rogue Open and then battled a thumb injury to win the Omaha Open. And tonight's top seed Carolyn Dorin-Ballard won back-to-back in the Bowl for Blindness Classic and the Greater San Diego Open. Jeannie Nacarado and Robin Masante filled Samstown with emotion as they won the track doubles for their fathers. A pair of roommates each took home a victory this year. In 2000 to date, Wendy Macpherson with the prestigious Queen's Crown and Carol Giannotti Block won the Clabber Girl Greater Terre Haute Open. And finally, 2 weeks ago, newcomer Tennelle Grualva showed us what she's made of as she captured a U.S. Open title. Coming up next, Wendy Macpherson faces top seed Carolyn Dorin-Ballard to see who captures the next crown. We're back and ready for the championship match of the Southern Virginia Open presented by Ebonite, and Wendy Macpherson will start this match. Of course, she got away with one in that last match, missing that 10th pin in the 10th. She needs to regroup and start over because she's facing a tough opponent.
Definitely one that's not gonna, she's not gonna open much.
Great opening shot by Wendy Macpherson. First look at Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. North Richland Hills, Texas, 35 years old. 11 years a pro and 9 titles. So she's trying to get closer to that mark of how many years and how many titles.
Well, what a talented player she is. She practices so much during the week, and she's just perfected her game.
And she is playing way out.
Well, that wasn't one of Carolyn's best shots, but she knew that, you know, she got away with it. Look, she was very high there. Usually you're going to see her left leg is very low and bent at the foul line, and you're going to see her trail foot on the floor.
Talked about the great year, 2 titles already, 4 TV finals, 9 top 24s.
10 cashes and $51,725 in earnings. Once again, that is with incentives.
And that's through 10 events, not including this event, the 11th one. And she'll take that. Kick the 4-pin out of there, fortunate.
Well, you betcha. She always is a little bit of a slow starter on television. Ball coming up pretty high here. Got a real good break that she tripped the 4-pin out. Left herself with a 6-10, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to, you know, put the old kiss of death on her and say that she is the, if not the best, one of the best spare shooters out here.
Okay, you're safe. She covers it up. Saw that average for Carolyn, 224.64 this week. Wendy Macpherson averaging 214.55 to qualify second. 10 pins per game different. Wendy's year, 1 title only, but 7 TV finals. 10 top 24. Also 10 cashes and 66,000 in earnings.
Yeah, sneaking up on the $1 million mark. She's only $58,205 short, I believe.
That's a goal of hers, too.
Yes, you said that at the beginning of the year she made that a goal. This ball checked up pretty early. Lanes might be starting to hook a little bit more out there. They're getting a lot of play. Left herself with a pretty big split, and that's one that if you can't just, you know, heave it down the lane pretty hard, you're not going to make it. So take your count and make a better shot on the next line.
Carolyn's looking down, not paying attention. She defeated Carolyn Dorin-Ballard 5 out of 6 times in championship matches. That's a huge record.
Wow, look at the pin action on that ball. That thing just, that came roaring back from the gutter. Watch this ball. Look at the revs on it. Watch it. It's going to make a turn right there. They didn't stand a chance.
Well, Carolyn led this event from start to finish. As we said, she told us first time in her career she's led one completely start to finish. Ooh, and a break there. Now, it's tough to lead like that, as you talked about, and then it could be all over today.
That's right. Come out, you know, you only got 1 game, and it's win or lose. Even with a more than 400 pin lead, you still got to perform in that last game. But it's early yet, and the important thing right here is Carolyn staying clean. She's not making the best shots that she knows how to make just yet. But, you know, I'm going to say right now, watch the difference in those first 3 versus her last 3 frames.
Well, even though she's not making her best shots, as you mentioned, she leads by 11 pins because of that split Wendy Macpherson had. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard stepping up in the 4th frame, and Carolyn told us that she's not usually a striker. She wouldn't think she'd lead a tournament by this much because she's more of a grind-out player.
Well, that's what she says.
That's what she says.
You know, she can strike with the best of them. Don't let her fool you. She's playing it cool.
And there's one of those strikes we were just talking about. As we talked about, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard on top all the way. Nobody too low. Tennelle Grualva down to 20th at one point.
Yeah, she had kind of a seesaw right there. 20th to 10th to 19th, and then eventually up to 4th.
Big strike for Wendy, and Lisa talked to Wendy earlier about her.
Oh, we're going to look at the replay first here. She was nice and aggressive, just about left an 8-pin there.
That's a double for Wendy as she steps up in the 5th frame. She trails by 1 pin. She can take the lead with a strike here. 202 career average on television.
Ooh, came up a little bit high. You know, like I said, that lane is hooking a little bit more. We're only bowling on 34 feet of oil this week, and he said that he called it flat and wide. So there's oil pretty much all the way across the lane. There's only just a couple of increases in oil, but it goes most of the way across.
Carolyn Dorin-Ballard is in the lead. We'll be right back with the conclusion of this match. There's a look at the score while we're away. 2 frames. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard leading by 1 pin. Match basically stayed the same.
Just 1 pin apart. Carolyn getting up to try and take a bigger lead.
She's on a spare in the 6th frame. This is her 7th frame. Wendy is working on a strike, so Carolyn needs to set up a strike. Wow, good break. Almost a great break.
That's right. When the last 2 frames, she left 2 5s. Ball came up light, she left a 2-5. Made them both. She looked over at Dell, and I think he told her to stay down a little bit. But I'll tell you, you know, it looks pretty tricky out there because it looks like there's a good bit of dry down the lane there, so they've got to hit it just at the right time.
Well, she covers the spare, and she's a very good teacher. Carolyn talked to us about what she's doing to help educate the junior bowlers.
I'm getting very interested in trying to help out youth bowling and college bowling, actually. Working with Ebony to try to get some clinics through the high school varsity level and try to make high school bowling a stepping stone to college. And there are a lot more high schools now that offer very good programs for bowling that lead you onto the college level. Also in the college area, we'd like to maybe try to get some of those college bowlers, both men and women, out on the tour for a tournament or two to see what it's like to be a pro bowler and maybe instill in them the desire to become a professional afterwards.
Very good cause for Carolyn. She strikes in the 8th frame. She trails by 1 pin because of the 8 count in the 7th frame.
This was a much better shot. Remember what I said about you're going to see a big difference in her last 3 frames from her first 3? Well, there's the 8th frame. She stayed down with that. The ball went the direction it's supposed to go, which she likes it to go down the lane a little bit and roll up into the pocket.
Wendy Macpherson up by 1, can go to 11 with a strike. Oh, we saw that earlier. Linda Kelly left a solid 8.
Well, this is just about the worst time for a solid 8 to pop up. Look at this. Same thing as before. 5 pin just kind of lays down flat. Goes right behind it.
That was a great shot.
It sure was. Couldn't have made a better shot in the position she was in. With a spare, she's going to lead by just 1. Big frame here, 9th frame. She's got to set up a strike because Carolyn's on a strike in the 8th with her 9th and 10th to go.
Well, she leads by 1, and if you'd like more information on Wendy, a lot of the players setting up their own websites, and Wendy has one at wendymacphersonbowling.com. Carolyn's going, come on. She's talking to herself.
Well, no 8-pin there. She made sure of that.
Big setup, and this is a huge shot coming up for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard as we take a look at Wendy's.
You can see how much speed and aggression she had on that shot. She came right out of her shoes just about at the foul line. But she got the job done.
Well, she knows that 8-pin cost her 20 pins between strikes. Max score 225. She can close this out.
Well, you know, I think maybe what's happening is a little bit of the timing problem. See her shoulders a little bit too far forward there, and she's missing her leverage point. But I think, you know, she feels like she's got to throw it pretty hard out there. You know, when you don't feel so comfortable, things happen in your game. But she said that she has been having that problem, and her feet get quick, her shoulders get forward, and is causing her to have to pull through the ball, and you just don't have the consistency that you need to have.
Wow, that definitely changed the game. The best Carolyn Dorin-Ballard can shoot is 193.
But she knows that, like we saw in the last match, anything can happen.
That's right. She needs to strike out to force Wendy to mark. Coming up light, 258. Has to be a huge disappointment.
Oh, there's a look at her. She stayed down real good with that shot, but you know, they're a little bit tighter out there. You know, I got a feeling maybe that she's hoping that she would have maybe chosen some different rolling equipment, some equipment that would roll up in a different part of the lane, because I think this is forcing her to throw a little bit harder and a little bit more aggressive than she likes to.
Covers up that spare. Best she can do now, 183. So Wendy will just be looking at needing some decent pin count. So barring a disaster.
And that strike in the ninth for Wendy was very important, because if she was on a spare, we would be looking at a whole different story.
Count, so a score of 182 for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Wendy Macpherson will need 9 on 2 balls. 9 pins, 2 shots. Title belongs to Wendy Macpherson. There's more to come of the Southern Virginia Open presented by Ebonite. Don't go away. There's your champion of the Southern Virginia Open presented by Ebonite. Final score 205 to 182. Chico and Robin Valenzuela, co-proprietors of Country Club Lanes, present her with check and trophy and gave the other athletes a week to remember. Be sure to tune in next Thursday, August 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern to see if Kim Adler can win her 3rd title of 2000 as she defends her Lady Ebonite Classic crown right here on ESPN2. For Lisa Wagner, I'm Jan Schmidt. So long from Country Club Lanes. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.